What is up, Not a Grom fam? Today we are doing an install of the Power Commander 5 AutoTune by DynoJet. Now you might be asking yourself, why are you making an AutoTune video? There's already one out there. Well, that one that's out there, while it is a pretty okay video, it's not really up to my standards. It doesn't include as much information as I think it should. Quality isn't that great. And it also doesn't cover the new PowerCore software that DynoJet just came out with. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to install the AutoTune to your existing Power Commander setup. If you're looking for a video on how to install the Power Commander itself, there will be a link in the description below to my previous video from last season. In this video, we'll simply be showing you how to install the AutoTune on your existing Power Commander setup on your 2017 to 2018 Kawasaki Z125 Pro. First, we'll go over everything that's included in the box, which of course is the AutoTune itself, a wideband O2 sensor, a loose 18mm bung to weld to your exhaust to fit the O2 sensor, some zip ties, some dual lock, an alcohol prep pad, decals, and all the wiring necessary to hook it all up. Now, one thing it does not come with is the USB cable that you need to connect the Power Commander to your laptop. The good news is you don't need a special adapter or cable. You simply use a micro USB cable. It's the same cable that you would use like on a PlayStation 3 controller or some older USB devices. I picked this particular one up on Amazon for about $7. Also, if you need to weld the bung to your exhaust, you're going to need one of these M12-1.25mm bolts to plug your existing O2 sensor hole, and possibly some M12 washers depending on the length of the bolt you buy. I picked these up at a local AutoZone for about $5. Also, on a side note, if you have the same problem that I always have with this one fender retainer popping out, you can also pick up this Chrysler GM body retainer from AutoZone for about $4, and they fit perfect. With all that out of the way, let's get on to the install. You start out by taking your seat off, of course. Then remove the 4 Allen bolts from the cowl. Then the Allen bolt above the rear foot peg to take the side plastics off. Then the Phillips head screw located underneath the seat. And then you can just pop all of your side plastics off. Just be careful not to break any tabs. Now, looking at the exhaust, you can see here where I've plugged my original O2 sensor hole using the M12 bolt that I showed you earlier, along with the M12 washers. And I have the bung that came with the AutoTune welded to the exhaust on the side there, kind of at an angle, so that it clears the cowl. Just go ahead and pop that plug out. Then we can install the O2 sensor that came with the AutoTune. This is a wideband O2 sensor in a standard 18mm size. Now we can attach the O2 sensor to the wiring harness, which has this interesting little clip on the side that locks it in place. Then we need to route the wiring up through the bike. You can kind of figure this out on your own and kind of do it your own way. Just make sure that the wiring doesn't come in contact with the engine. In this particular situation, I simply zip tied the connector to the brake line there, and then routed the rest of the wiring through the factory O2 sensor wiring holder on the side of the case there. Up next, you want to wire up the power and ground. Here we're using one of the included wire taps to tap into a ground wire that's already existing on the battery. Please excuse my dirty fingernails. Just screw that in there just like that. Next, we're going to run our power wire to this fuse here, this middle red fuse. Just put it in there on the opposite side, exactly as shown, and plug the fuse in on top of it. This allows you to have ignition-only power, as instructed by the AutoTune manual. I also took some wire cutters and cut a little chunk out of the side of the fuse box so that the fuse box doesn't pinch the wire when you close it. Up next, you want to wire up the wiring harness. Fortunately, this is a very simple task, as all of the wires are color-coded. You want to go in with a small flathead screwdriver and loosen up all of the screws in there first. And it's also recommended not to trim these wires, but if you do decide to trim them, make sure that you tin all of the wires with solder, as that makes it easier to go into the box. Just simply push each one into the box. There is a little rubber boot in there, so it does take a little bit of force, but they do snap into place and they hold very solid once screwed in. Up next, you take your connection cable to connect your power commander to the AutoTune. Just a simple plug and play setup. It does not matter which port you use on either unit. Just plug it into any of the ports on either unit. So long as they're connected, that's all that matters. Now we can turn on the ignition and make sure everything's functioning. When functioning properly, the AutoTune will light up and blink. Once it goes solid, it is working correctly. Now we can take our alcohol pad and get drunk. Clean out the area that we're going to mount the AutoTune to. Then we'll take the included dual lock, attach it to the back of the AutoTune, and attach it to the bike itself. Now we can take all of our loose wiring and zip tie it to certain parts of the frame. Where you decide to put your wiring is really up to you, so long as it doesn't come in contact with the seat when the seat is attached. Now we can connect the USB cable to the power commander. The power commander just has a little boot on the side. You take that off and then you can insert your USB cable and move on to your laptop. Now we move on to the really scary, intimidating part, but before we do that, let's talk about laptops. Let's talk about this laptop here that I have. It is a total piece of junk. It is a 10-year-old Dell 4300 Core 2 Duo. Windows 7 had just came out when this laptop was made. Despite being its age, though, it is capable of running Windows 10. I think I gave $53 on eBay for this particular laptop, so you don't need anything super powerful. As you can see here, the specs on this machine are pretty low. Now that you know what hardware you need to head over to dinojet.com and get the files that you need. Once you're at dinojet.com, just go up to the download section, then go to software firmware. And you want to get the PowerCore software suite as highlighted here. Just download that to your computer. And you also want to go ahead and grab the PC5 firmware so that you can update the firmware for your Power Commander. If your Power Commander does not already have a map installed, you're going to want to go ahead and get a map. So you click on the Power Commander link, and then click on the left link. Then you put in your make, which is Kawasaki, and your model, which is Z125, and your year, which will be 17 or 18. When this page pops up, you just click on Maps Installs, and then scroll to the very bottom of the page. As you can see here, they've got a series of maps for different setups. Any of these will work for a base map. Once you've installed the PowerCore software, and you've got your USB cable hooked up to your Z125 Power Commander, the other end hooked to the laptop. By the way, make sure that you plug this into a USB 2.0 USB port. If you have a newer laptop that has USB 3.0, this could cause problems as this cable is rated for 2.0 only. Now you can go ahead and open up your Power Core software suite, then click on C3 Tuning Software. Give that a minute to load, and we can get started. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is save your existing map. So you want to click Receive, which receives the map from the Power Commander to the computer. Then you can go over and save that map, which is the map that's already on your Power Commander. If you don't have a map already on your Power Commander, this would be the moment where you load it. So we'll just go ahead and save that as original map. And now is a good time to go and update the firmware to your Power Commander. You just click on Tools, go to Firmware, click on the Power Commander 5, click Install Firmware, and navigate to where you save the firmware to. Then simply click Open and let it do its thing. Make sure that your laptop is plugged in the entire time that this process is going. If you lose power, you could ruin your Power Commander. Now that that's out of the way, we want to enable the AutoTune. So you go to Configure, AutoTune, and then click on the little arrow on the side and click Enabled. Now that you've got your AutoTune enabled, you want to go ahead and send that to the Power Commander for the AutoTune to function on our next ride. Just to make sure everything is working, we'll go ahead and crank the bike up so you can see a live view. Alright, well let's put the bike back together and go for a ride. Kawasaki Magic Powers, go! Much better. Alright, so I just went for about a 30-mile ride. Now I want to apply the AutoTune corrections. So you simply open up your software just like before, or just if you have it still open, plug in the USB. Then you want to go over to Maps and click Accept Trims and then hit Yes. This saves all of the trims that the AutoTuner made on your ride and uploads them to the Power Commander, giving you an adjusted air-fuel ratio, which should in turn make more power. Now this is a process that you want to repeat over and over again, possibly every time you go out on a ride. If you have time, come back, hook it to the laptop, save your AutoTune's corrections, and your new map is now set up, which of course you can save and upload for other people to use. That's pretty much the basics on how you get your AutoTune to work with your Power Commander 5 on the Kawasaki Z125 Pro. I would go into more detail, but then that would turn this into a 3-hour video, and I just wanted to make this short and sweet. So if you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Peace!